Imagine being so excited to finally enjoy those upgrades you've been planning for your car. You can already feel the performance boost, the new experience, and the money you're going to save doing it yourself. But then it all goes wrong. Instead of driving your dream setup, your car is sitting dead for days, weeks, months, or years. You're out thousands of dollars and the excitement turns into pure frustration. In this video, I'm going to share real stories of upgrades gone wrong and show you exactly what to do to make sure this does not happen to you. I constantly see situations where owners get stuck doing things twice, wasting time and throwing money away on projects that end up needing to be redone. But here's the truth. It's often not their fault. Unless you're in this industry every day, working with parts companies and seeing what combinations work well, it's almost impossible to get everything right the first time. This Le Mans is a perfect example. The owner had the space and time to work on it, so to save money, he began working on the car himself. Goal one was to dress up the Pontiac 400 and get it running strong and reliable. He added a March pulley system and polished Edelbrock intake manifold, a brand new quick fuel carb, cleaned up the engine bay, and he thought he was ready to roll. Then he realized the car needed wiring, so he dove in and gutted the old harness, which required tearing out the interior. He started into the wiring using a no-name kit and began to add AC. But that turned into a hot mess and stalled the project. At that point, it wasn't because he lacked effort, it's because he lacked insider knowledge. Wiring kits aren't all created equal, and if you don't live in this world every day, how would you know which one is going to create more problems than it solves? And like most projects, it had snowballed. Now the interior was out, dash all torn apart, to upgrade gauges, add AC, and so on. He was in over his head. And as a result, the car sat for well over a year. That's where I came in. He called me and we went over his car, his budget and his goals, and how to help him straighten out this whole mess. Eventually, the car came to my shop and he decided to change direction entirely and go modern with a 500 plus horsepower LS3. But that instantly made all the work and money put into the 400 a sunk cost. But again, how could he know that's where he'd end up? These projects evolve, and without a clear roadmap, it's easy to go down a path that later doesn't make sense. The upgrades didn't stop there. Since the engine got swapped, we changed up the front suspension to include tubular control arms and coilover shocks. In the rear, he wanted better suspension and brakes to match, so we went with a QA1 rear coilover conversion, tubular arms, a sway bar, and Wilwood brakes to match the front. All great choices. We also wound up changing the rear end because you can't buy any real gears for a BOP, so we went with a Mosier 12 bolt. But here's the rub. He had already rebuilt the rear suspension once before, and the rear end he had in there was all rebuilt and already painted. So out came a painted rear end, control arms, bushings, and brakes. More money and effort, gone. And the wiring? That no-name kit was such a tangle it wasn't even worth saving. We had to redo it completely with a quality American auto wire harness. Let's recap. Money spent on the 400 engine that never got used. Money spent on the 10-bolt rear end and suspension that got replaced. Money spent on wiring that had to be ripped out. And because the car sat during this whole process, his new convertible top got damaged too. Yep, another redo. Total it all up, an easy $10K down the drain. Not to mention all of the time wasted. That's why I always pitch the importance of a build plan. My customer wasn't being cheap. He was trying to be smart and make progress. But without a big picture roadmap, he got caught in the vicious cycle of redos and wasted money. But honestly, how could he have known otherwise? Get a build plan from the start and you'll have the classic car you want without all the costly setbacks. I offer custom build plans so you have the clear direction to take your project no matter where you live or who's doing what. Doing things in the right order will almost always save you money and will surely save you some frustration. A quick story to showcase that is this 68 Camaro convertible. It's in here right now to be completely rewired, and much like the Le Mans, he too decided to remove his stock engine and is adding a modern LS engine, a supercharged LSA to be exact. But he didn't decide to do so until after we had gotten a 327 running. We surely could have saved him some money if we had gone directly to the LSA, but getting the original small block running got him remotivated. And also allowed him to sell it to offset some expenses. Since the car is sitting for a few weeks while we plan out the LSA conversion and source all the requisite parts, the customer got excited and asked us to price out a new convertible top to keep things moving along and just kind of, keep progress rolling. He's going to paint the car soon, so he thought it would make sense to maybe put the top on now. But I advise him not to replace the top yet, because the odds of that new top getting damaged during the paint process are almost 100%. If anything happens to it, we'll be doing it again. Twice the labor, double the spend. A perfect example of doing things in the wrong order. I always recommend convertible tops be replaced after paint work is completed, like on this 70 Chevelle. Especially true in this case because he's going bright white. It's got to be about the last thing done to this car because greasy hands and white tops don't get along. If you're into this type of content, you're going to love my weekly newsletter. It's packed with insider tips, hard to find knowledge, and real stories from the world of classic cars. The kind of stuff you just won't stumble across online. Sign up, and every week you'll get exclusive insights straight from me to help you enjoy, protect, and get the most out of your classic car. Here's another example of where a customer went wrong and was on the verge of making it worse. On this El Camino project, the owner decided he wanted to add an upgraded stereo. Now, since his engine is so loud and the interior is getting really close to done. Good call, now's the time to do it. But he had previously purchased and installed a new custom auto sound deck to go on the dash, and it just didn't have enough outputs for the system that he's trying to select and run. So he didn't realize he bought the wrong deck, and now he's going to have to buy another deck. So instead of this deck, we decided we're going to go with something from Retro Sound that's going to have a lot better sound quality and a lot more control and features. So he opted to purchase a new deck that has a proper number of outputs. More money for parts, more money for labor, could have been avoided. He also wanted to save a buck by using the same old amps he's had sitting around for years. But after discussing it with him, we decided a single new 5-channel kicker amplifier would be smaller, cleaner, more adjustable, and be guaranteed to work, and it comes with a bass knob. So he agreed it didn't make sense to spend money mounting these giant amps and then likely replacing them, one or both of them, when they didn't work. Do it right the first time whenever possible. Speaking of doing it right, I'm always confused as to why so many people do so many things backwards. Another wacky thing about this El Camino is the seats. He took the car to an upholstery shop that did a great job with the custom seats, the door panels, and the headliner. But I'm totally confused why you'd install a custom new carpet kit, custom sew and wrap the seats in leather, then install the seats with just one bolt holding them in place. Wouldn't you drill the holes and figure out how to mount the seats in the car before you glue down the brand new carpet? To make things worse, the seats are power with 6-way adjustment, but they hadn't run any power wires for the seats. How was that going to work? And how is the next guy supposed to get wire run when the carpet is already glued down? The carpet's likely to stretch, wrinkle, or tear when peeled back. It's not likely to look as perfect as it did the first time, so they should have done it ahead of time. Doing things in the proper order always yields the best results. When you don't, you waste valuable time, sacrifice quality, and waste your hard-earned money. Now he's got to spend money again to get the stuff completed and fixed. This hobby is way too expensive to be doing things twice, ever.